Hey everybody, I received a solicitation for Backpacker magazine. I used to be an avid reader of it, let my subscription expire and trying to get me back. They sent some promotional stuff, and this was in here, 10 tips for backpacking lighter and smarter. Now this is not copyrighted that I can tell anywhere. Okay, so I will give all credit to Backpacker magazine for this, so I'll take no credit myself. But I want to do a little comment and review on some things, maybe highlight and add some things based upon kind of through hiking experience, long distance experience. Now here they start up by saying, don't pack when you're hungry because you'll put more and more stuff in your pack. Where this comes into effect when you're through hiking is when you're actually going, once again, you're going to the grocery store. If you're in town, what I do is I do recommend that you go and have your town meal first. Go calorie load. Binge whatever you want to do, go eat that whole pizza, go eat those 2 hamburgers, whatever you want to do. Get that done first and then go to the store. I have walked out with too much stuff before and had to throw stuff in a hiker box to give things away because I bought too much because when you get the hiker hungry, you're kind of always hungry, but at least if you've gone and had a good meal, you're less likely to end up buying too much stuff. So this is a really good recommendation. So make sure that you've eaten before you go do your resupply. Teamwork. For most people that are through hiking, this may not necessarily apply unless you're like you're a couple. Most people that get together in the tramilies, the trail families, you're still gonna have your own toothpaste. You're probably not gonna share first aid stuff. You don't really need a compass on the AT, especially if you're using gut hook. Okay, but if you're and some people will share tents, even though if they're not necessarily related. But I met some girls who were hiking that were good friends, and they had their own tents. And I asked, "Why don't you share a tent?" They said, "I'm with this person all day long. The last thing I want to do is sleep in the same tent with them and smell them." And there's a lot of truth in that. Okay, now downsize your deep. What's interesting is having hiked in 2016, it never occurred to me until the last day of 2017 when I met a hiker who had basically a large container of deep woods off, and she said she's only out there for 3 days, so she had dumped most of it out. It never occurred to, because I was trying to find the smallest container to put to do my bug spray in, and sometimes I went without it because it's just like, there's no way I'm going to carry all that. It never occurred to me to actually dump some of it out. Now, as far as portion control and stuff like that, all my medications I use plastic bags. My duct tape. This is actually Gorilla Tape. I put around an old credit card. Some people put it around a hiking pole, but if you're going to end up using it for blisters, you probably don't want that stuff out in all the elements and the dirt and the mud, and then trying to use it as a first aid kit. This is a straw from one of the larger straws you use for smoothies. This is Luca tape. This is the best stuff. You can't buy it in a store. You have to get it on the internet. It comes from Germany. Luca tape. This stuff is very, very strong. Once you put this on, it won't come off. Okay, and you can put this over a blister and it becomes like a second layer of skin. I had some hip abrasions from my Osprey pack in 2016. Put a little bit of a Neosporin on and put this on, and it stayed never came off until I literally pulled it off, and it helped heal. So this is worth its weight in gold, and it comes in a roll that's really heavy. But if you do something like this, have a couple of these and maybe have a few at home that you can have somebody send to you, worth its weight in gold. So how else can you use straws? Okay, well, you can use straws for spices. You can use straws for Neosporin. That's what I did is what you do is you just pinch this down, okay? All right, and you're just going to melt the end. All right, and that seals up that end, okay? So the end is sealed up, and you decide, okay, well, I want to have a little one-use thing of Neosporin, okay? Because you know if you cut yourself, all you got to do is get to your next town. So what do you do at this point in time? I'm trying to get my little pair of scissors out of here. All right. So you say, okay, well, let's see, a one-use thing of Neosporin, maybe about there, and you cut your straw. This is not the best pair of scissors. This is a very, very cheap pair of, not even a leather one. It's something you pick up at like the dime store, you know. I guess I should have prepped this better. Or you can use a knife. All right, and then you basically you fill that up. You put some like Neosporin in it, or polysporin, and then once again you just clamp it down. And you melt that end, and voila! You've got a little pouch. It's hot. You got a little pouch of Neosporin, and then you just cut the end off it, and you squeeze it on your Band-Aid, and you throw that in your garbage bag. Have about 3 or 4 of those. That's all you need till you get to the next town. If you need some Neosporin for some a cut or an abrasion or a infected blister or whatnot. People will do the same thing with spices if you want. So if you're doing a shorter, but if you're not long distance, you could take and do one this long, put salt in it, pepper in it, other spices and things like that, and you can have these little tubules of spices you take with you. You can buy those backpacking ones where it's got the 6 different spices in a container that's kind of round, and so you don't need to do that. Just take spices that you want and burn one of the ends, fill it up, and then cut it off and seal the end of it up. And then all you do is when you use it, you open it, you cut the end off, you pour your pepper out or your salt out, and then you'll heat up the end again. All right. So little things like that help downsizing. I hiked with a guy that carried 3 Costco size tubes of toothpaste with him. I could not help him understand that those little tiny sample ones were big enough to last for like 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, and you could just pick those things up for $1 and resupplies. Just could not get him to understand that. All right, let's see. Of course, doubling up anything, okay, that dual use stuff, using hiking poles to rig your tarps. Socks can be used as gloves, and I've known people that will hike with their socks instead of carrying a pair of gloves. Here they still talk about a tarp being worn as a shawl. I've seen somebody use a $600 Z-Pack tent for a ground cloth in a shelter. Slept on it. The guy slept on it. How about a pair of underwear for a sleeping hat? Okay, that also works. All right, get rid of your fork. Stick with a spoon. A lot of people love sporks. I really hate on sporks. A spork is a worthless spoon and it's a worthless fork. I'd rather carry a little titanium spoon and a titanium fork with me than to try and use a spork. So I'm on the opposite here. I like one of each because I know that you can't eat soup very well with a spork, and it's really hard to eat ramen with a spork. So I kind of go with that. If you're doing what I'm doing now with freezer bag cooking, my 550 milliliter is 2 cups. That works great for a mug. I have those little hot lip silicone rim pieces, so you can use it as a mug, and so I just have my one little pot that's also my mug. All right, let's see what else they have here for suggestions. Carry only what you're wearing. They're talking mostly about short trips here. When you're trying to do a long distance, you got to wash some clothes. So at some point, then you have to have something to go into. even on a short trip now, my lesson learned is I will at least have with me like a light pair of gym shorts. And the reason why is I was in southern New Mexico in the Gila wilderness down there, and we were coming out after about 3 or 4 days of backpacking, and we were approaching the Catwalk area, which is a real big tourist area, and it was a Saturday, so there's a lot of day hikers hiking in. And right before we got there, we were crossing a stream, and I ripped my pants from, I had a long pair of pants, they ripped from the waistband down the zipper line, all the way down my thigh to my knee. It just the whole material just gave way. It wasn't ripstop material. It just ripped. So I was walking the rest of that way because I had done that. I had only had the clothes that I was wearing. Had a pair change in the car, but that didn't help the embarrassment of walking out having my underwear basically being exposed to everybody that wanted to take a glance at it as we were hiking back out. So if I had just a pair of shorts, I could have put a pair of gym shorts on and would have been fine. This one I've never heard of before. If you run out of sunscreen, if you need to, you can use toothpaste. I've never thought of that. That's probably a pretty good idea. Think small, eyedroppers for different kind of things. Tabasco soap, first aid disinfectant. I took a little tiny eyedropper and put Clorox in it, and that's my emergency disinfectant for a water supply. So, like for example, if this last summer, way up north, the water quality was bad, and there's a couple of spots where I elected not to get water because it was coming out of a dam where there were beavers. Beavers carry Giardia. Giardia is a virus. Viruses are not filtered out by your Sawyer, okay, just bacteria, but not viruses. But something that will kill a virus is a disinfectant. So I wasn't an Aqua Mirror person, but I had a little tiny eyedropper with some Clorox in it. And so had I had to use that as a water source, after filtering it with a Sawyer, I would have put a couple little drops in per liter is enough to disinfect it and kill the viruses. No, by the way, it's almost instantaneous too. All right. Prepare for darkness. Mark important items like your flashlight, your headlamps, your watch, water bottles with glow in the dark tape. I have never thought about this. I've used some of the reflective guy line that you can buy for tents to put around things like tent stakes and a pocket knife and things like that. I don't even know where you can buy glow in the dark tape. So chime in here in the comments section and let me know where you can get glow in the dark tape at. I think that might be a cool idea to try. All right, now this is a survival technique using your watch as a compass. Okay, if you are lost without a compass, point the hour hand of your watch at the sun. Okay, so the small hand towards the sun. And halfway between the hour hand and the 12 on the watch will be south. Okay? So then, of course, 180 degrees opposite of that will be your north direction. Okay? So what if you don't have a watch? I don't wear a watch anymore. I retired from the military. I started wearing a watch. I've got my cell phone. So how does this work? Very easy. You look at your cell phone, and if it says it's 10 o'clock in the morning, then you look at your watch, you look at your wrist, and go, okay, well if I had a watch on, then 10 o'clock would be here. So I point that 10 towards the sun, so therefore that's south. So that must be north, right behind me. Okay, so you can visualize if you had a watch how it would work. Anyway, so that's my review and comment on Backpacker Magazine's 10 tips for backpacking lighter and smarter, and my little input on it. So hopefully that was beneficial. Let me know. If you have any questions, throw it in the comment section and we'll answer it during the Q&A. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye.